Um, it's interesting, I don't know if it's because I kind of grew up in the African American community, but also in athletic communities that, talking about, your struggles was just never a really popular thing. I remember one day I tried, I really tried. When I was in high school, my best friend committed suicide. I remember I tried talking to my dad, and my dad was like, "You'll be all right." And I remember just being like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna be all right, Dad. But not knowing how to necessarily express that. And right around my senior year of school, I started visiting of college in western Nebraska, where I went to school at Shadron State College. I started visiting with my therapist, and that was my first kind of understanding of like, oh, holy crap, it feels good to be heard, you know? And I just remember walking a little bit lighter when I left that space. Several years later in my life, I kind of went through some traumas of some sorts, and I went to my therapist, a new therapist here in Denver, and told him about my situation. He said, "Well, I want you to imagine all of the yous in one room." And I was like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" And he's like, all of the yous, the yous that struggled at certain ages, the yous of the future, all of the yous are in this one room, and they're all hanging out, and they're kicking it. They're having a great time in this giant, warehouse of a space. And then in the middle of this space, a bomb goes off. Now, who are the yous who didn't survive this issue that you're going through? Who are the yous that were wounded by the shrapnel? Who are the yous that only heard something and ran away? Who are the yous that somehow stood right there in the midst of everything and were okay and stood strong? And I started thinking of who that you was. I spent so much time thinking about this. And this you ended up becoming this 8-year-old version of myself. And this 8-year-old version of myself is a really interesting kid. It all kind of came to fruition with This Is My Brave. And when the producer asked me to be a part of the show, I remember being like, well, I really don't have like a mental health issue. Like I don't really like take medicine or nothing like that. So I might not be your person. And she was like, Jovan, really think about this. And I started going back and remembering this time in my life when I was in 3rd grade. And I lost 3 grandparents over the course of 5 days. And they were all over the country. And they were vastly important. Particularly like my dad's mom was the person when I was in 3rd grade when I started writing poems who was like, Jovan, you're the best poet in the whole wide world. And I'd be like, yeah, Grandma. She'd be like, yeah, right? And so I have this big pencil up here with me because this sort of represents who I was. This kid who saw writing as like a real belief system, like that I could write my way through anything, and that everything that I put together was dope, and it wasn't dope because of anything else. It was dope because my grandma said it was dope, and she was the only authority that I needed on that, right? And so I came back to the producer of the show, and I said, I think I might have something, and what it came out into the incarnation was this Fisher-Price toy box that existed in my room. Maybe you remember this very high, like, Kmart thing. There's thousands of them. They're white sides with like a blue lid and a green front. And when this time happened in my life, I started taking up homage inside of this space. And exclusively for the greater course of a year, this is what my mom and my dad told me. And they said, we didn't really know what to do. And I'm like, well, y'all could have took me to a childhood therapist, but okay, y'all just let me sit in a box for a year. That's all right. And that's cool. I guess that's how we're doing it. Like, he's okay. To the degree, or even at like family dinners, they would just move my box down by the table and, and it was cool, but it was like this thing that I guess this space where I kind of felt okay. And so I wanted to write a poem about this sort of space and this existence, and this poem's called From the Toy Box. And This poem's kind of like a dedication, and whenever y'all are ready for the music, I'm ready. This poem is a dedication to anybody whose childhood trauma really impacted, their adult trauma in a way. And this was my way to figure out a way out of wanting to die, was needing to lean on my inner third grader to figure out a way to survive. And I hope that you remember those younger versions of yourself who had to survive and you forgot how powerful their survival was, and they can help you. Here we go. It's one of those days again where I'm two sides. Suicide not subsiding, and this other side barely siding with me. I'm a tornado, losing all of my siding, a scaffold sliding, wondering which side of the gun, which side of the drowning, which side of the fall, the super soaker or the Glock, the imagination or the water, the parachute or the plummet. You see, somewhere in this gun locker of a man is a chest evacuated of toys. Deep inside this knocking engine was a room in Aurora, Colorado. Innocence, in a sense, losing all of its sunshine. There's a frame exposed with an 8-year-old black boy in the middle. See, it's 1994. Nappy head, grass stains, torn jeans, wrestling action figures, football player posters, teenage turtle sheets, and probably too much booger and butt picking to count. But slowly and ever so surely, his house is melting. There's a tornado of hands, and everything is too fast to grab. He's wondering why everything is ticking, flickering and fading. He's wondering where his history is going. There's a storm warning for a green sky. 3 grandparents, 1 week, 3 fallen sequoias pounded his tectonics phonics until it was just rattling. 3 cross-country trips, he and the other 3 in his house silent. An aftershock astronaut with a knot in his throat and a knot again on his little boy tongue, traveling the speed of knots, crashing against the waves. 1, will Granddad and I still go fishing? 2, singing for his grandma, dim, 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 the dim, 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 as the light dimmed from her face. And 3, a phone call. Nana didn't wake up out of her sleep. The woman who taught me poetry and everything I needed to know about being brave. And the house evacuates like floodwater, leaving you inside. Here he flees to his real home, his life raft, the toy chest, where escape was possible, where he could sing dim, dim crayon songs until darkness dimmed into fluorescence, where he could dream them back. He could set some hooks and take proud pictures with Grandpa, pull the sheets over and call his Nana, and get sat down and laugh a map into a bucket list until glimmering limericks fell from her wrinkles. And I'd say, Nana, and she'd say, I told you, they're everywhere. And poems were just petals on casket decorations. See, this boy, he knows coloring book scripture, deshelling Silverstein till his thorax Lorax back onto their laps. From the doctrine of Seuss in this cube. When I stand on 2 sides, y'all, suicide not subsiding, and this other side barely siding with me, a boy peeks out from the toy chest laughing. He stands proud in cowboy boots, whitey-tidies, and ashy knees and invites me in. Says, Jovan, we're all in here. You always try to oversee us. So Jovan, wake up. Jovan, get back here. Jovan, I love you. Jovan, I know storms. How they swoon and swear. How everything feels upside down in its wake, but pull up a crayon and tell me a story that no one knows but us. A secret we both share, that tomorrow wants you. Daytime is draining. Nighttime is hungry, but chests, Jovan, chests are not caskets. It's just the home that your heart rests in. And boxes are just houses, and yes, houses can be haunted. But in this house, the ghosts are with you. Thank you.